Teen Challenge is an organization which aims to help pull people out of life-controlling issues, including addiction. They've been around since 1958 and have grown to over 200 sites nationally, as well as over 1,000 sites internationally. Teen Challenge is committed to seeing individuals with addictions freed through a relationship with Jesus Christ. By supporting Teen Challenge, you will be directly responsible for the process of transforming lives all over the world. Today, I was lucky enough to have a conversation with the CEO of Teen Challenge, Randy Rowe. Hey everyone, welcome back to our next interview with the Mission Enlightenment Project. Today we'll be talking to the CEO of Teen Challenge, Randy Rowe, who I have just met for the first time today, and so far I'm very pleased to report he seems to be a very amazing human being. But he's here to tell us all about Teen Challenge. So I'll just go ahead and jump right into our first question here. What can you tell me about Teen Challenge, history of Teen Challenge, how it got started, and what is Teen Challenge's mission?
Well, thank you so much, Tyler. It's likewise, it's my first time to meet you. And I always love it when someone's very personable. You need a lot of that when we're doing stuff virtually, and you got it right on target. Well, anyway, Teen Challenge actually started in 1958 by David Wilkerson. David Wilkerson was a minister in Pennsylvania that read an article in Life magazine about some kids that had murdered another kid on the subway. And so he saw this, and God prompted him to see if there was something that he could do to help these individuals. So he went there to the court date, and of course he was thrown out on his ears, so to speak, because that wasn't the way that the court would be handled. But the process that occurred from that, he began to see the needs that were in the New York City area, needs with drug addicts needing help, gang members. A lot of times they were the same, drug addicts and in their gangs. And so he saw this whole other world that he never dreamed existed. And so God began to prompt him to do something about it. Well, the concept, he started a home, actually kind of like an outreach home in New York City, and began to do outreaches and so on in New York City. And then the concept rapidly expanded throughout the United States. So kind of brings us to where we're at in the Bay Area. In the Bay Area, Teen Challenge came here in 1964, started a home in San Francisco after some Bible students were out witnessing and doing outreach in the city of Oakland. Eventually, the idea of Teen Challenge caught on as a way to help people that were just struggling and with drugs and other things of that sort. So they started a home in San Francisco, and then a number of other areas started up doing the Teen Challenge model. And so in San Jose, the first Teen Challenge came here in 1971.
Yeah, it's been can you believe it? That was 50 years ago now. That's
yeah, it's been a while for sure.
Yeah, so you spoke a little bit about how its reach has grown. Teen Challenge's reach seems to be national. Is that the case?
Well, it's actually international. Maybe a important part for me to interject right here, though, is that even though it's an international organization, each of the locations have their own corporations, and so we really work hard to keep it local and grassroots, even though there's also a national and an international focus. So like, for example, in the United States, there's about 240 centers, and we're actually with Teen Challenge in 175 countries. So it's a pretty broad ministry. However, it's not administrated from a central point. It's always administrated from a local point, because that's why we want to, how we really touch base with the local community's needs.
Yeah, definitely. So you're talking about how you touch base with local communities' needs. Um, so how does Teen Challenge work to help those they serve?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that one of our goals, our overreaching goal, is something that we put into a slogan that says, putting hope within reach. That simply means that we know that Christ is the answer for many of the problems that's out there. The individuals that are struggling to understand where they fit in, struggling to even get a sense of what, if they're an addiction, what help they can get. If there's, and what we see many, many times is that individuals, drug addicts, homeless individuals, other people just struggling in various circumstances, not knowing how to deal with it, life becomes hopeless, or you begin to lose hope. And so we want to say that Teen Challenge is putting hope within reach of these individuals. We do that through several different methods. We have a number of types of outreaches that we do, as well as residential homes that we have right here in San Jose for women and children, and also whole family units. And so we have residential help as well as outreaches to the community.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like there's been a lot of hope being brought closer to the reach of those in need. And what challenges does Teen Challenge consistently face in not only in their own efforts, but also to help bring hope closer in reach to those that need it?
Sure, sure. And that's a great question. You know, I think probably, every ministry, every organization has their own set of struggles and challenges and obstacles, where our primary focus is to reach those that are struggling with addictions, or those that are just really struggling with life issues. We find that bed space is a problem, having enough bed space to help everyone that have needs. And then obviously the other types of resources that are out there, as we're a Christian nonprofit organization, we primarily look to individuals and churches and businesses that have an affinity to help programs like ours. We really we need to get the word out more. So I guess is really what I'm saying, for those individuals that are willing to support Teen Challenge. And so, that type of support has a broad range. Someone might just think, well, he's just talking about money there, but actually it's not. There's a whole range of resources that are needed to provide this type of service for individuals that they themselves can't afford it. And therefore, I think of Matthew chapter 9, where Jesus talks about the harvest, and that the harvests are plentiful, but the workers are few, Jesus says. And then he said, pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would bring in many workers. Man, I feel like I need to pray that every day in Teen Challenge. We need more workers to come and help us do what we're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially in certain areas of the country, where time seems to be such a demand. So many people, volunteers are definitely huge help.
Yeah, absolutely, so true.
So before I ask about volunteering, I just also like to highlight an important thing that's affecting the whole world. That is the pandemic, and I would like to know, how has the pandemic affected Teen Challenge's efforts, and how has it increased the need for Teen Challenge's support of people?
Have you noticed that's the favorite question everyone asks everyone else?
Yep.
Because it so dominated our lives,
Hmm.
so dominated everything that we were doing. Well, for Teen Challenge, the operations that we had, especially for our homes, where we call them students, the people that the clients that are in the Teen Challenge program. Well, we were able to continue our operations just as normal because we were deemed as an essential business or an essential workers. But reaching out to the public, that is, telling people about Teen Challenge and also letting our needs known, changed drastically. This is what we're doing right now is a fine example of how people are learning to adapt to a new way of doing things, because even now in late 2021, many of us really still haven't found our balance and knowing how best to approach the people that we know we need to serve. And so many things are being done remotely. A lot of outreaches and reaching out to our donors is being done remotely. But we're also keenly aware that there are many, many individuals struggling even more because of the pandemic year. Did you know that we had a 179% increase in drug overdoses in 2020? And
Yeah, I did know that's
yeah, it's
that rough.
just huge, the problem and the impact that this had on people's well-being. And suicides increased. And so all of these factors show that we need to do even more now. And I think God has given us opportunities that sometimes we don't quite see right in front of us to be able to do more. And so that's kind of, where the pandemic has, we can look at the negative side and say, look how much we've been impacted this way, but we can look at the positive side and say, look at how God has helped us reach a new set of people that are struggling with their addictions or their life issues right now.
Yeah, definitely. There is definitely a double-edged sword happening a lot in the world right
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
But in terms of opportunity for people to answer the call, as I'll just state it,
Mhm.
how can someone who is interested in supporting Teen Challenge do so and volunteer? How can someone help give their time with Teen Challenge as
Okay.
well?
Well, there's actually three ways that we look at for people to get involved. The first one is, we would think it's probably the easiest, but if you do it right, it's time consuming, and that is prayer.
Hmm.
We need people to pray because we know where people pray, their interests are in that area as well. And we also know that it gets God's attention. And we need his favor more than ever, I think, during these times. So prayer, do not minimize the opportunity that you might have, that you would add Teen Challenge to your prayers in a sustainable and substantial way, because I believe that's where the greatest favor comes from. The second thing is I'll actually mention the third thing that I put in the list so I can come back to volunteerism. But the third way we tell people they can support is through financial efforts. We are a Christian 501c3 organization, so all donations are tax exempt, and we do primarily focus, I would say 65% of our funds that we operate with come from donations. So I want to come back to what we call our number two item, volunteerism. And truthfully, nearly every job that we have at Teen Challenge, if we can have a volunteer do it, we're better off. We have opportunities in our homes to work directly with the students. We have a number of things that you can imagine in any organization, like bookkeeping, data entry, We have all those type of things that are involved. And then, as we're actually coming into the Christmas season, one of the things that we will be doing here is putting together a Christmas campaign in which we will try to provide gifts for every one of the students, and then we need to wrap all those gifts. We're talking about 3,000 or 4,000 gifts that we will get in order, and donors will donate to Teen Challenge, and people have to wrap them. And so that's another way, a short-term type of volunteerism. But in any ministry, in any opportunity, there's a number of things that need attention, and a person of almost any skill caliber can find something to do at Teen Challenge. And let me tell you, it would be extremely rewarding for anyone that spent their time volunteering for Teen Challenge.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like there is a lot. Are there any other upcoming events or campaigns aside from Christmas? Do you guys have anything as to where we can have groups of people support?
No, that's a really good point. We actually just finished our fall galas, and we actually, we were so happy to have even a smaller groups, but to have galas in person in each location. I was just saying, oh man, it's so nice to have people that are in person here. But we also did this virtually too, and although it's already past the time that we did the drive, we still have all the information on YouTube, and an ability for people to take a look at and see. It's kind of a way to get a preview of something if they're considering someone that they love to enter the Teen Challenge program, or they're considering what organization they would like to support. Then this virtual gala that we did is still online, and if you're willing, we can also put the link up if you would care to have that.
It's there. It's already there.
It's already there. All right. Well, I am so glad to hear that, Tyler. But and that's just another example of how things are done differently after COVID, and how people can get involved in different ways and find out more information about Teen Challenge in different ways than we used to do.
Yeah. As you mentioned, the gala had people in person. If I feel like I haven't been to in person anything for like 2 years, so
it's terrible. I mean, in that respect, it's so comforting when you can get with people, but then you think of all the regulations and you say, wow, I don't know if we can do this.
Yeah, to speak on like the church angle of it, very similar to any sort of time you're trying to get people together. We've had less people in our congregation even after things have opened up, but our online services are like through the roof. We have people like from Finland watching, and it's like, wow.
I know. Your outreach, your footprint's way bigger as a result of what happened.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of the volunteer opportunities. Can you share your website or any contact information?
Sure. So our organization is at teenchallenge.net. The .net is important because if you put something else, you're going to go to another location. But teenchallenge.net is our location here. And at that location, you can get a lot of information about Teen Challenge, and also ways that you might be able to be involved or find out more about what Teen Challenge is actually doing in our communities.
Wonderful. And I'll have that link in the description below.
Okay.
So if you're watching this video, just take the mouse and go down a little bit, click, and you're there.
All right. Nice. Yeah, you need plenty of Tylers around to show us how to do that kind of stuff too.
I'll have my TED Talk on it. Nice. Well, Ag, before I go, is there anything else we may have missed that you want to share about Teen Challenge?
Well, that's a rough question to ask because
Always,
we could
always.
talk for a long time. But
Yeah.
no, I think that we covered most of it, especially since we talked about some ways that if someone's interested, they could actually find ways to easily get more information. And so I think that that's probably the one thing I just want to reemphasize is we're out there. We are there to help you. If you have a loved one that's struggling, we are there to help individuals that are really struggling right now. And so I want you to know that Teen Challenge is here to serve. Teen Challenge is here to help if we possibly can.
That's awesome. I'm very happy that everything in this world, although just to speak to, I've said this to many people, but I'll repeat it here. What's happening in this world is breaking my heart, but
Yes.
something that is really encouraging me and having me broaden my shoulders and stand on my own 2 feet is people like yourself and Teen Challenge is an organization that has been stepping up and filling all the needs that need to be and the calls that need to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yes.
really grateful for your organization and all the work
Well,
you do.
thank you so much, Tyler. And I do appreciate so much the opportunity to chat with you and all the people that might hear your production here.
Wonderful. Well, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the CEO here of Teen Challenge. Everybody, this was Randy Rowe, and we greatly appreciate his time. If you haven't yet, go underneath the video below and go ahead and visit the links we've provided. And if you have some spare time, go ahead and join the ranks of Teen Challenge. And let's save the world together, everyone, and for God's kingdom.
Well said.
All right, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye now.